The Holy Sepulchre is the greatest sacred thing for all Orthodox Christians. The heart of the Jerusalem temple of resurrection, where the Tsar of reigning and the Lord of dominating was put for a 3-day dream. Here he resurrected, opening the way to resurrection to all of us. Here annually, on Holy Saturday, the Holy Fire descends in a marvelous way to the couch of the Savior. According to the legend of the Sacred Fathers, the Holy Light had shined here for the first time at the moment of Christ's resurrection. A great number of people for the next 20 centuries had an opportunity to see this great miracle. Intense situation in the Holy Land in spring 2002 couldn't prevent the main event of the Holy Week from taking place. Pilgrims from Greece, Russia, Ukraine, Romania, and other countries gathered in the temple since Friday and stayed there all night long. It was so 100, 200, and 900 years ago, according to Russian pilgrims. Not long ago, when the situation in Israel was more favorable, the temple, containing over 10,000 people, was so crowded that on the night from Friday to Saturday, the believers were sleeping on their knees. But in the evening, on May 3rd, 2002, there were only few pilgrims staying in the temple of Holy Sepulchre.
Stito me themon che dignito, faes horon angelum dia precios legonta, simeron sotiria to cosmo, otian esti Christos ospanto dinamo.
The picture of night temple is extraordinary. People can be seen sleeping near the greatest sacred objects of Christianity. Many of them are sleeping on the floor. The idea that millions of Christians were laying, sitting and standing for the last 1500 years on these stone plates that remained from original temple built by Emperor Constantine in 335 Anno Domini strikes greatly. At 5 a.m., the Israeli police began to press people, placing metal barriers and thus making passages for the participants of the forthcoming ceremony. In the meantime, all candles and icon lamps were put out in the whole architectural complex of the temple. The chapel of Holy Sepulchre, called Kourouklea in Greek, was examined and sealed up with a big wax seal, certifying that not a single lamp or candle was alight. The procession of the Greek clergy enters at midday sharp to the sad stroke of a bell. His Beatitude Patriarch of Jerusalem, Irenaeus, brings up the rear. 10 minutes later, the representatives of Armenian, Copts and Syrian clergy follow Irenaeus to the altar of Catholicon, kiss the Patriarch's hand as a mark of traditional respect, and invite him to start the ceremony. The privilege of the Orthodox Patriarch to be the first to take the Holy Fire is not questioned by different Christian confessions, at least for 500 years. On Great Saturday, 1549, when Jerusalem was in Turkish power, the Armenians, having bribed Jerusalem authorities, decided to take the Holy Fire themselves. The Orthodox Christians were not admitted to the temple, and both the Patriarch and all believers were standing with candle outside, full of a sorrow near closed holy gates. On that day, the holy fire descended not on the holy sepulchre to the Armenian priests, but came out as a flame from the marble column, opposite to which the Orthodox Patriarch was standing. The Patriarch approached and lit the candles, and all Orthodox Christians lit their candles from him. Everyone was happy, and the Orthodox Arabians began jumping and shouting with joy, "You are the only God, our Jesus Christ. Our true belief is unified." They still keep remembering that event, jump and shout around the Holy Sepulchre, praise the unified true God, Jesus Christ, and gratify the orthodoxy. By 1 p.m. on Great Saturday, the wax seal was removed, and procession through the temple with a thrice-repeated round of Kouklea started. The whole temple is filled with the sacred Byzantine hymns. At the same time, everyone becomes the witness of a wonderful phenomenon. Air space of the temple is pierced by luminous flashes and constantly increase. These forerunners of the holy light have blue color. Their intensity and amplitude increase periodically. Despite the flashes of many cameras, this phenomenon was observed by pilgrims many centuries ago. After thrice-repeated round of Kouklea, the Patriarch stands in front of its entrance, where he is carefully examined by police representatives, officials, and all the believers. It is done to eliminate any suspicion of having something that can light up. During the Turks' supremacy, the Patriarch was controlled by the Turkish Janissaries, who were carefully examining him. After this procedure, the Patriarch enters Kouklea in the Sticharion only, holding 4 big bunches of candles. Now everything depends on his secret kneeling prayer near the 3-day couch of the Savior. Tension in the temple reached the highest point. All believers feel complicity in this great event, but everyone is afraid that the holy miracle may not happen because of their sins. There is such a harmony of religious feeling in the temple, what can exist nowhere in the world but near the place of a suffering and the glory of God. Unpredictable hail of blue lightnings pierces the space of the temple. Some believers' candles begin to light up spontaneously. Icon lamps light up spontaneously on the Calvary and near the entrance to Kouklea. Greek priest Father Mitrophannes, who was the eyewitness of the Holy Saturday in 1926, told what was going on inside Kouklea during the descent of the Holy Fire. Suddenly, the blue light filled the inner space of the life-giving sepulchre. While the Patriarch was reading the prayer, the light was rotating with a great rapidity and power. At first, the light was blue, then it turned white, rounded and stood motionless as a nimbus over the Patriarch's head. Then I saw the Patriarch take bunches of 33 candles, raise them high above his head and began praying about sending down the holy fire, slowly holding his hands to the sky. Hardly had he managed to raise his hands above his head when all 4 bunches in his hands flamed up in a moment, as if they were brought near the flaming stove. But before the Patriarch appears in the doors of Kouklea with the candles lit from holy fire, the fire carrier's footmen, having taken the holy fire through the special small windows, carry it round the temple. People are overflowed with unexpressible and incomparable feeling of joy and spiritual calm. A flame of the candles fills in the space of the temple impetuously, and the fire doesn't burn at first. It is the fact that has been verified by millions of pilgrims for many years, and believe that it's not necessary to come here just to make certain of it. The holy fire, the symbol of mysterious links of the heaven and the earth, had blazed up for the first time, according to the sacred fathers, during the resurrection of Jesus Christ, and lit up the holy couch where the man who told had slept for 3 days. I come to bring down the fire to the earth, and I would like it to flare up. The legend runs that the year when the holy fire doesn't descend will be the last one for the mankind. And the grace appearing miraculously today means that the God has not left us, the earth and the world, redeemed by the Calvarian sacrifice from slavery of sin and death.